Hi everyone. So we're going to talk about how to never hit it off the heel of the driver again. And I'm going to give you a way to measure whether you're hitting it in the heel with the driver or not, and then 3 fixes that'll make sure we never do it again. But before we get to that, please like, subscribe, and comment. Alright, so the first thing we need to figure out is what's the heel side of the golf club. So in a previous video we talked about the toe of the club being the end furthest away from the shaft. The heel is actually the side of the club head, club face, closest to the shaft, so just inside the center. So a very simple way to remember the heel end and the toe end of the club is just to set the club on the ground mirroring your leg. So where my leg goes into my foot is the heel side, and the end furthest away from my leg is the toe side. And with a golf club, where the shaft goes into the club head is the heel side, and the end furthest away from the shaft is the toe side of the club. Now the next thing we need to determine is, am I hitting the driver off the heel or not? And we have a really cool way to do that. And the way we're going to do that is by using, and I use this at my golf school, this Dr. Scholl's foot spray. And we need to make sure it's this yellow can. I'll leave a link below. You can buy it off Amazon. But it sprays white, and so I spray it on the face, as you can see I'm doing here, and that leaves a nice white film on the face. So now when I strike a golf ball, it's going to leave a print on the club face, and I'll know where on the club face I'm hitting it. And if we're somebody who hits it in the heel, I've got some really neat fixes for you next. So we have our Dr. Scholl's foot spray. Now it's time to go to the driving range, spray our driver, start hitting some balls, and we determine, wow, I hit it off the heel of the club way too often. Now we need to get into some corrections. And as a teacher, what I like to do is I like to move from least invasive to most invasive for obvious reasons. If it's a simple fix, I only need to make a small little adjustment and I start hitting the center of the club face, then easy peasy, I can take it right to the first tee and go out and play this afternoon. So that being said, I like to always start with maybe it's a spacing issue. And what I mean by that is maybe I'm too close to the golf ball, and since I'm too close to the golf ball, I always reveal the heel end of the club. Now this might not be the reason, but it's a great starting point. So, okay, I've determined I hit it off the heel, I mark my face up again, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up a little bit. And to assure that I'm back far enough, I'm actually going to address this ball towards the toe of the club. And I'm going to make my golf swing, and I'm going to see where I hit it on the club face. And what I'll see is really one of 3 things. I'm going to see it still in the heel, which tells me that it's not a spacing issue. I've got to work on these other couple things that Mark's going to teach me about. Or I hit it right in the center of the club face. So it was a spacing issue. I need to back up a little bit. I need to favor the toe end of the club. Remember, there's no rule in golf that says you have to start with the ball in the center of the club face before you make a golf swing. Or I started off the toe and I hit it in the toe. The second 2 outcomes are really favorable. There were some researchers a few years ago that took 2 groups of beginners, and one group they taught to hit the center of the club face, and the other group they taught to hit the heel, the toe, then the center. And they did a few other ways as well. They had people hit left, right, and then straight, and then the other group just hit straight. But when they did the variable training, the heel, the toe, then the center, they found that that group learned the skill massively faster. So the researchers kind of scratched their head and, why is that? And this reason they came up with is that the brain works really well when it has references. So when it knows what it feels like to hit it in the heel, what it feels like to hit it in the toe, it can find the center. It has those outer parameters. And when it doesn't, when it's just searching to find the center, it'll get there, it might just take a little bit longer. So the first thing we want to look at is spacing. Move away from the golf ball, put the ball on the toe of the club. All right, so we decide, hey, that's not it. I did that, I got further away, I'm still hitting in the heel. What's going on here? How can I fix this? What it may be is a hand path issue. And what I mean by that is as I'm swinging into impact, my hands are working away from my body, and as I do that, look at how I'm exposing the heel of the club to the golf ball. So now I need a way, I got to figure out a way, how am I going to retrain my hand path to move correctly that I can hit the center of the club face? And fortunately I have a great solution for that, and that's very simply taking this tee, and I'm going to stick it just slightly to the inside of the ball that I want to hit. And when I make my next golf swing, the objective is I want the center of the club face to hit that tee. Now if I'm able to do that, the ball is going to hit somewhere out near the toe. But remember the conversation we just had, if I'm always missing heel and I can find the toe, should be able to find the center. Now again, I'm going to make sure that my Dr. Scholl's foot spray is on my driver face. And if I've hit a few balls, I need to respray because it'll be hard to determine which ball is which. But I go ahead and refresh that. I make my swing, and my focus is the center of the club face hitting that tee. Now notice mechanically how my hands are moving closer to my body to allow me to hit that tee. So that's the hand path correction. Is that the hand path is now moving in and around, which is proper, as opposed to out and away from my body, which exposes the heel. So we've got two solutions now. Is it spacing? And am I standing too close to the golf ball? Or is it my hand path? Is my hand path working away from my body, which is causing me to expose the heel of the club? Now, there's a third way that we can look at here. It's like, all right, the spacing didn't work. The hand path, I tried the little tee in the ground, still hitting it off the heel. Everything's off the heel. The third way that this might be happening is on the way back, I'm getting the club face very open, and on the way down, it's even more open, and I've shot a couple videos about the club face, which you can find up here. And because that club face is so open, I'm leading with the heel, or the heel is coming in first. So we need to adjust that club face. We need to correct that club face. And what's the way of correcting that club face? It's quite simple. Because it was in very open positions, I've got to now work on swinging it in either more square, or I can exaggerate to the other extreme, and that's probably where you want to go to start, is let's exaggerate, because to make a little change in golf, we have to really super exaggerate it. So now I'm going to swing more close, so the club face is pointing to the ground, it's pointing to the sky at the top of my backswing, and then I get halfway down, it's pointing to the ground again. And if I keep it in this closed position, what's going to happen is it's actually going to come in closed, and I'm going to hit it more towards the toe of the club, which for now is okay because it wasn't the heel. We want to get away from the heel. And if I can find the toe, now I can say, okay, well obviously it doesn't need to be that closed. I can find somewhere in between that allows me to expose the center of the club face. So three things to look at if you're continually hitting the driver off the heel. First of all, very simple, spacing. Am I too close? Okay, I'm going to back up. I'm going to address the ball towards the toe of the club. I'm going to spray that face again. I'm going to see what happens. We're creating a feedback loop. You know, I teach a lot of very successful, educated students, and when I can give them this feedback, all of a sudden they can start making adjustments that really affect what's happening dynamically to the golf ball when they hit it. But the first one is that spacing. Put it out off the toe. Does that fix it? No. Okay, well let me try something else. Let's look at my hand path. Maybe my hand path is working away from my body. I'm going to stick a little tee to the inside of the golf ball. My goal is to get the center of this club face, to hit that tee, which will then effectively put the ball out off the toe. And again, from there, I can play with how far the ball or how close the ball is to the ball that I want to hit and find the center of the club face that way. Or if neither of those two work, I need to look at the club face. Is the club face getting really, really open in my downswing that I'm exposing the heel of the club? And that can have a lot to do with the lead wrist, and there's another video up here that talks about the lead wrist right now that can help you if that's the case. So the answer there, remember, was to swing it in more closed positions. So hopefully you understand what might be causing that heel shot that you're seeing. And if you have enjoyed this video, there's a few more up here right now that I promise are going to help your game. And remember, please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and comment.